Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new here, my name is Sophia, and I make book-related videos, mainly videos about literary fiction and mystery thriller, but truly a little bit of everything. And today is not even a book-related video. Don't worry, this will continue to be a book channel, but I realized that there's something in my life that I talk about all of the time, but I haven't fully let you guys in on the extent what I'm growing. So I wanted to take you guys around the garden, show you all of the plants that I'm growing, what seeds they are. I'll try and link them as I go. My favorite little nook of the garden, my part of the garden that I think needs a little bit of help, and vegetables that we've harvested so far. I do plan to do this for spring, summer, and fall, a little garden tour to keep you in the loop and let you know how things are growing outside. So without further ado, let's get started with my spring garden tour. All right, so here is a general overview of the garden. We're going to get into all of the nooks and crannies, but here is just as you kind of look at it from one part to another. All right, so starting out with this little garden that is near our house. So this is mainly an herb garden. So closest to you, you have two basil plants. These are just general variety basil that you use to make pesto. And then what I'm pointing to right now is another basil plant here. In the middle, you have then finally, this plant right here is a Thai basil. I love to use Thai basil when I make stir fry, just to garnish the top of it. And it grows really well here. These were all grown from seed in our home. And we actually had some success with that. So nice and certainly cheaper way to grow. All right, we have arrived at my favorite spot of the garden. This is what I like to call our spring garden because lots of these plants thrive at this time of the year. So as an overview, on your left-hand side, there is a trellis. And this is where we're growing our sugar snap peas, maybe my favorite crop of all. These little guys do a great job of trellising or gripping onto this thing, which is amazing. And we're not quite at pea harvesting time yet, but we are getting there. I think we're going to have our first flowers coming up, which is really, really exciting. And if you are wondering, we did grow all of the peas from seed. We actually planted most of these straight in the garden, although some of these were from a grow cart inside. Next up, we have our lettuce. So over here is the arugula, my most harvested vegetable at this point. It does really well in the cold season, and so I have been making my way through the arugula, making salads. This is a cut and grow variety, so you can just cut leaves and it will grow back, which is really great. And we have this little patch here, but it has been doing very well. Next up, right next to it, we have I think it's called just mixed lettuce leaves. So you have some darker and lighter variety, also cut and grow, although we haven't harvested these yet because I want the leaves to be a little bit bigger, especially these smaller ones up front. They just aren't quite there, but they are certainly going to be really delicious once we get to them. So arugula, mixed greens. Next up is our baby spinach, which I'm pointing out with this real sketch looking stick right here. These are Tyler's Pride and Joy. He grew those from seed. We have a few leaves that are probably harvestable, but I want to wait for just a bit for them to get a little bit bigger before we truly get excited about harvesting them. And then we also have Butter Crunch. These are another type of lettuce, also a cut and grow variety. Super, super delicious. A very gentle lettuce variety. And we also have some at the front area too. So these are also Butter Crunch. And then these are more mixed greens. Moving on from lettuces, we have some spring onions. I love these. So they're lovely in all kinds of, like cutting over stir fry or using in salads. They are still making their way to being harvestable, but they're making good progress. And then finally, we have two little peppers here at the front. And these are both serrano peppers. Tyler loves serranos. We use them for our pickles. Whenever we harvest cucumbers, we put a few of our fresh serranos in there for the pickles. And so they're just being added to the spring garden, although I don't expect anything from them for quite a while. And we have our tomatoes over here. So these outside tomatoes are called Cherokee tomatoes. They're a type of heirloom tomato. I don't expect to get anything from these until like July, August time. And then these two in the middle, these are cherry tomatoes. They are called bicolor cherries, so they're going to have some that are more yellow color, some that are more red color. And again, these will not really get anywhere until July. So this is definitely my favorite part of the garden, especially right now, because it is just absolutely thriving and it gives me so much joy coming out here and seeing the developments. Also, quick little thing, we made this fence because we have a lot of issues with very adorable bunnies breaking into and burrowing into our garden and eating our lettuce. They sometimes will burrow under the fence, but we've noticed a big improvement since. So overall, pretty happy with how that's working. Another contender for a favorite thing in the garden is our strawberries. This is one of the only things in the garden that we have not grown from seed. I bought these baskets from, how long am I going to hold this sketchy stick? I bought these baskets from Home Depot, and I just cannot resist fresh picked strawberries. They do really well in hanging baskets. We have not had a whole lot of harvesting from these. There's been the odd ones that have been good, but as you can see, they are kind of in their flowering stage right now. And fun fact, like the middle of this kind of looks like a strawberry, as makes sense. So yes, these hopefully we'll get a little bit more into late May and June. We'll start getting more of a strawberry harvest. So this random bin in the corner is carrots, although you wouldn't know it right now. I put a couple of bags of carrot seeds in here maybe a couple weeks ago. Haven't seen a lot of germination, so I'm not sure where we're going to end up with these. But I did just recycle a random bin that we were moving our stuff in when we moved to our house, and it has worked really nicely as a pot. I sawed some drainage holes in the bottom, and I'm honestly just waiting for germination. So hopefully that happens very soon. Next up, we have this little container organizer, I guess you could call it. So I'll just pan down so you guys can see all of the different levels. So on the top, we have more tomato plants. You may ask why we have a bunch of tomato plants in random places. The reason is we grew all these inside and we weren't able to part with them. So we just kept buying more and more pots. So this one here is another cherry tomato. And these two here are San Marzano tomatoes, Tyler's personal favorite, as he's a big tomato sauce fan. And they're great for like pasta sauce and pizza sauce. On the bottom edge of this little organizer, we have another little area for basil. These are all Genovese basils, so the same as the ones in the garden at the front of the house. Great pesto machines, is that a word? And they're just not big enough to harvest right now, so they'll be later in the summer. And then on the bottom, we have some germinated carrots. So these obviously are very small. We have some bigger carrots, which I'll get to a little bit later in the tour, but these are Napoli carrots, and hopefully this pot is going to be deep enough to actually like get a decent carrot out of them. I truly don't know. And we also have some animals that like to burrow, hence right there. But so far, I'm honestly happy that they have germinated and they have secondary leaves. So the leaves that look like carrot leaves, not just the sprouted leaves. So yeah, that's our little container organizer. This is another one of my favorite parts of the garden, and these are our berry bushes. I bought cultivars that grow really well in containers because we are renting, and so I just don't want to like dig up their garden here and then have to undig these plants. The rest of the plants here are annuals for the most part, and so they will not come up with us. They'll die after a season, but these guys keep coming back. On the back shelf, these two are blackberry bushes here. And then we have two blueberry bushes on that side. And then in the front, these ones all in the front here are raspberry bushes. We have not gotten any harvest from any of these. They're starting to flower a little bit, which is very exciting, but nothing quite yet. And these raspberries we did recently repot. We also repotted these blackberries, and I think the blueberries need a new home because they honestly just look too big for those pots. This is our little cucumber corner. We built a makeshift trellis out of cucumber. We built a makeshift trellis out of some leftover chicken wire and some stakes. And we are starting to trellis these little guys up onto the chicken wire. These again are going to be producers like later in the summer. But they did really well. Again, these were a grow from indoors. They transplanted really well. They are absolutely covered with flowers. I just know that these typically, at least in our climate, don't usually produce fruit. So we'll see. Produce fruit this early in the season, I should say. So I'll go through these quickly. They're mostly varietals that we've already seen other places in the garden. This is called the Black Kim tomato. It is an heirloom tomato. And similar to the Cherokee, but just a little bit different flavor. This is also another Black Kim tomato. These were our best growers inside, which is interesting. And we have more bicolor cherry tomatoes here. These two are cherry tomatoes, and they're the bicolor variety, so some orange and some red. Doing fine. They're a little bit yellow on their leaves. We don't really know the reason why, but happy enough with how they're doing. And finally, we have some more San Marzano tomatoes. Again, Tyler's favorite, great for pizza, great for pasta sauce, and will not produce for a little while. These are like plum looking tomatoes. I'll put a picture of what they're supposed to look like once they eventually get it together. We have two cilantro plants. Love to put this in stir fry. Also, of course, guacamole. Who doesn't? It grows really well here. It grows like a weed. And honestly, our biggest issue when this gets going is just harvesting in time before it bolts. So still waiting for this to establish itself a little bit more before we go full in on harvest it. But very happy with how it's looking so far. And this was also another grow from indoors. Okay, this might be the part of the tour that I'm most excited about and that Tyler is least excited about. Tyler's my partner, if that wasn't obvious. And this is our little chamomile plant or group of plants. I'm hoping at some point in the summer to grow chamomile, harvest the flowers, and make my own chamomile tea. Does not look like it's doing anything like that at this point in time, but this little area it has some room to grow with the cilantro, and so I'm really just hoping for big things, honestly. And then this is the last little bit of our herb garden. The thyme and the sage are in the back. So this here is thyme, and then we have sage back here. Those both survived the winter. I wasn't expecting the sage to survive the winter because our potted sage died, but I think maybe they do a little bit better in the garden. And then we have our chive plants over here on the side. These are great, just cut up as like a garnishing. They have kind of a oniony flavor. And this also came back from last year and did really great. And some oregano that is very slowly growing. That was a grow from indoors, and it's just taking a while to take off, but I think it likes warmer weather, and we're not quite there just yet. If you watched maybe one vlog ago, I put this little thing together because I have a passionate love for beetroot, and every single place we tried to grow beetroot in this garden was like an unmitigated disaster. And so I bought this planter with that sole purpose, and then realized it was ridiculous to grow this amount of beetroot, so added a few extra things into it. So this Up here is a serrano pepper, similar to the one in our spring garden, chili pepper. This is going to be a bell pepper over here. And then we have another bell pepper up front and a little straggler Genovese basil at the back. And then we are seeing a little bit of beet germination. So everything here downwards is beets. It is not the most impressive thing you've ever seen, but if you squint, that is the beginning of a baby beet. So of course these will have to be thinned. There's a lot of them coming up around and there won't be enough space for that many beets, but I'm just happy they're germinating, to be honest. This is the umbrella that we use when we are having outdoor dinner parties, and it's a great spot for more strawberries because why the heck not? This was a gift from my parents. They have a garden and they literally harvest like 80 strawberries a year in the summer, which is a little bonkers. So they gave me a couple of extra cuttings, and then this and this one over here were another Home Depot buy. And then the one in the back corner was actually one of our hanging garden plants from last year that survived the winter. And so we're just hoping that he has what it takes to continue surviving. And the last little part of the garden, these were in a vlog, I want to say maybe 2 months ago. But these are two other little containers that we have. So this one up front is another serrano. Yes, the reason why they're not all together is because we got these pots at different times and we just happened to have extra serranos, and so we just popped them in wherever we got a pot. Thai basil and more oregano just in case the one in the plot dies. And then in the back we have some more successful carrots. So that whole back pot is Napoli carrots, and they're not growing the fastest, but last year carrots literally took us the entire growing season to grow. So we're just going to keep our fingers crossed. Last but not least, this is our little dining set. This is where we eat. This is where I read. This is our main kind of gathering ground. And in the middle, there is a little mint plant that I also picked up from Home Depot. Tyler has banned me from growing mint because I picked a invasive species of mint last year that still pops up randomly, even though we put a lot of energy into getting every little last bit of it out. So he's like, you are only allowed this. I've researched this. This is not going to invade our garden. So here we go. It is lovely. I have put it in mint tea. I put it in flavored water so far, and it's been really lovely. All right, guys, so there you have it. That is my full spring garden tour. Overall, really happy with how things are going, how things are coming up. Of course, this spring little garden over here is my favorite, but you know, it'll change throughout the season, and that's the beauty of being a vegetable gardener. So with that, if you made it till the end of this video, leave me a carrot emoji, and I will see you guys very soon with another video. Bye.